Alright guys, today I'm going to be working on something that I've had a request to do. My brother-in-law actually wanted me to try to make him portable beverage holders, beer holders, drink holders, whichever you want. But he wanted some that he could set out next to his horseshoe pit and also set out beside his cornhole boards when they're all over there playing cornhole, and that he can move them around. So I went to my local hardware store and bought a couple pieces of wood. I bought a 4x4 by 8 foot, a 1x4 by 8 foot, and two 2x4 by 8 foot. Those are just actual studs. So that's gonna be my lumber list for the day, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, my 4x4 by 8 foot, believe it or not, put that on camera. It's actually 8 foot long for a change. It's not short, it's not too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down and measure this dead center. I'm gonna make it 4 foot long. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my line here. That way I'll have two sections at 4 feet tall. All right, with the 2x4s, my first one, I'm gonna cut them down 12 inches and I'm gonna cut on the line because this is actually perfectly 8 foot too, so I'm gonna have to cut on the line to get enough out of it. But with the 12 inches, what I'm gonna do with that is that's gonna be the base of my pole to hold it upright. And I will need 8 of those total. This right here, I'm gonna cut down, this is the second 2x4, I'm gonna cut it down to 6 inches. I'm gonna need 8 of these, and this is gonna be the bottom part of where the beverage is gonna sit on. Now I've got my 1x4 on here, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down 8 pieces at 6 inches long also. Alright, just to recap, I got my two 4x4 posts cut down at 4 foot. I have 8 2x4s cut down at 12 inches for the support base. 8 2x4 studs cut down at 6 inches for the bottom of the beverage holder. And 8 1x4s cut down at 6 inches because this is going to be the actual top of the beverage holder where I'm going to cut a hole where the can will slide down in the center. All right, my next step is, you can see I drew a line here. This is 3 inches. I'm going to take an inch off, but I don't want to go beyond this 3 inches, and I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to use my table saw. That way I know I got a straight edge, and then use the jigsaw to finish it off. But if you wanted to, you could use a jigsaw to do the whole cut. So basically, I'm going to take an inch off here, and I'm going to come all the way down to this line, then finish the cut with the jigsaw to where this part is missing, because I want this to be the foot, and this end is going to sit against the post. All right, so here's where we're at now. You got to remember, when you use a table saw, this is the top side cut, flip it directly over. Here's the bottom. The bottom always goes a little further than what the top does. So you got to remember that. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to get the jigsaw and finish this all the way out and then come down here. All right, now I got all my wood sanded and I got these cut. So basically, these are going to sit, and I'm going to attach this end right here to the 4x4, and it's going to sit like that against the 4x4, and the only thing that'll be sitting on the ground is these ends here. And the top pieces, I went ahead and rounded the edges over because people's going to be grabbing it and bumping against it, and I wanted everything to be smooth. But this is where the actual drink is going to have to go, and I'm getting ready to cut the holes in these. Okay, I got my first one done. So I'm just taking this one and putting them over top here, drawing the circle. And the chunk that come out of that, I actually made this hole a little bit bigger. I'm gonna lay that inside the circle, put my pencil down through this hole so it will mark dead center of this, so I'll know where to start with the hole saw bit to get that hole to line up the way I want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill the rest of these 7 out. Got all my holes cut, and I actually put this in the router and just used a 1/4 inch round over bit and routed this edge to make it a little bit smoother. So I got them done, the legs and everything. So now I got to drill some pocket holes in these, pocket holes in the legs, and of course pocket holes in the tops where it's going to hold the drink, because that's ultimately pocket holes and glue is what's going to hold it up against the 4x4 post. I got all my pocket holes drilled in these, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these flush with the end of this, drive my 2.5 inch pocket screws into here, and I'm gonna do this on every board. and then rotate it around. I'm gonna put these on first, because if I do these, if I was to do these first, then I wouldn't be able to get the drill in here to get these. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the assembly process. All right, I don't really like the way this looks, having that bare pole sitting right there in the center. So what I'm gonna do is I cut some leftover 1x4s, routed the edges. I'm gonna put that over the cap and glue it down and then shoot it with some brads. Then I cut another one a little bit smaller. I think I knocked off a 1/2 inch all the way around. I will probably stick it in the center. And then I went back and cut it down to 3/4 of an inch and made this little bitty one. And I'll probably just stick it right there. That way it'll have a little bit of a decorative edge. I think that may be too much, but if he don't like it, he could take it off. But it just gives it something else better to look at than looking at that bare pole. All right, something I wanted to point out is why I cut this out instead of just making it solid bottom. And this right here is 3 inches. So the reason I did that is these stands, if you've ever built them before, if you have it solid all the way across, then if you set them on the ground that's got a hump in it, that's unlevel, these things are going to wobble like crazy. So with having those little points, those 3 inches on each end of the studs, it'll make it set, believe it or not, it'll make it set a whole lot more level, especially if you're going to be putting it in the yard. And these holes, I used a 3-inch hole saw bit to cut these holes out and routed the edges where to be smooth. And it will hold drink cans, bottles, anything up to 3 inches in diameter. So that's both of them right there together. And I doubt I'm going to stain them or paint them, because I'm not sure what he wants to do with them. So I'm going to let him know they're done. And if he wants to paint it or stain it, that'll be on him. All right, guys, this is the conclusion of my portable drink holders. Just a quick recap on the lumber. I used a 4x4x8, two 2x4x8 foot studs, and then the 1x4x8 foot in length. Just cheap lumber. It's 25 bucks worth of lumber. That's not counting the screws and stuff, but that's just common stuff most people have around the house anyhow. The tools needed was just a regular old saw. You could use a circle saw. I use my table saw because I really like using that. It makes straight edges. And then the router. But the holes I cut in these are 3 inches in diameter, so anything up to 3 inches in diameter will fit in them. And they actually turned out pretty nice. It's something I come off the top of my head, because all the other ones I've seen, you plant them in the ground and then they're permanent. So I figured I'd do something for him where he can move them around, because he does have a horseshoe pit and cornhole boards. But you could even take these things with you tailgating if that's what you wanted to do while you're out there cooking on the grill, got your friends throwing football, playing games, waiting for the big game to start. You can take them with you. So pretty much sky's the limit wherever you want to use them. But you guys have any questions, then shoot me a comment or a message, and like always, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it and you think it's crap, hit the thumbs down button. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But I'm just trying to put out projects that's cheap and easy for other people to do. So anyhow, like always, I hope y'all have a great day, and thank you for watching.